Hey y'all, I'm EJ, you're you, welcome to my channel. Bop. You know what I love to do in the winter? Go camping. Not really, but that's apparently what all of the villagers think because they keep showing up at this campsite. So I'm gonna make it a nice place instead of just abandoning them to a desolate corner of my beach. I'm gonna make a fun little natural campground today that will of course be easy to transition from fall to winter. So hopefully it'll give you some inspiration, some ideas for your own islands. I hope it do. Let me know if it does. That being said, given the Thanksgiving theme of the week, why don't you go ahead and dry brine that subscribe button for 24 hours. Go ahead and roast that like button at 425 degrees for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And last but not least, please make sure you let that comment box rest for at least 1 hour before carving. And enjoy, y'all. All right. So, this is the area that we're going to be building today into our little campsite. It's a pretty large area, and I've already done a lot of terraforming, so it's basically empty. This used to be my, the beginning of the trail area that went behind my house, but I've since torn down all of that and turned it into this big flat area. So this should be, fun. The idea and plan for this area is I want this to be a very natural area. I want to put some rivers here because my mom recently was looking at my island and was like, "Where's all your rivers?" And I was like, you know what, that's a good point. I don't have any rivers. So I definitely want to incorporate a river into this area. And maybe obviously like a bridge, some waterfalls, things like that. But I want it to feel very natural. I want it to feel like a forest, and also like a place that you'd want to come and vacation. Now, the theme of this build, for me at least, was trial and error. I tried a lot of things, and got a lot of things that I didn't like, and changed a lot of things. And I think that's a big part of, my process or whatever, as someone, whenever I'm building an area, is just kind of, I come in with an idea, but I don't always stick to that idea, and I'm always gonna kind of follow my gut in terms of what I think will actually work. And I'm never afraid to just try stuff. So I kept in a lot of things in this where, I didn't try to just come in with the finished product. I wanted to show you the times that I messed up, the times that I put something and I was like, well, that is ugly. So that way, maybe you feel a little bit more empowered and excited to make some mistakes and don't feel like, oh my God, I'm an awful blah, blah. You're not. That's part of it, So one of the things I tried to do was I tried to figure out how to put a diagonal bridge in this area. I think I might have just kind of shot myself in the foot though with the initial areas that I was setting up as the rivers, because it was very difficult to figure it out and took a lot of experimenting to figure out how to even fit a diagonal bridge in there. So you're going to see a lot of just reshaping of the rivers, making something, getting rid of it, and then making it again. Cat came to hang out with me. Love Cat. So the diagonal bridge did end up working out. I decided to use a suspension bridge because I felt like it felt, wild and natural as opposed to the like really stiff and sturdy wooden bridges that I was using the rest of the island so far. And you can also see that I started to kind of sketch out before this where I wanted the rivers to go using those little dirt marks on my island. I use that a lot as just a way to sketch it out because, again, you can use, if you put it down using a dirt path, then you can go into your map and see where on the map it actually will end up being. So it gives you a good, like, big picture view of to help you plan out flow and things. Now this square I put down was for the campground. I'm going to put the campsite here, and I wanted to build out some section of cliff next to it. A very natural feeling section of cliff, which is why there's all those curved edges and everything. That way I can put some trees and things there. Bam! Here's the campground. Wow. Now here I'm sketching out, I'm using the path to kind of lay out what I want the edge of the cliffs to be for the upper level of the mountain. So, because that's going to help me kind of set up this second house area. So this is my third villager's house. I've recently upgraded them from a tent to a house, and I'm going to make it into like an Airbnb. So it's going to be, I'm going to upgrade their house until I have the one room off to the left. That'll be their little like apartment, and then the main room is going to be the Airbnb situation. Building out the river a little bit, and then I'm going to end up putting a bridge up next to the other bridge, which actually makes this a really cool area of just like a couple bridges intersecting. I think it looks very fun. And it makes the Airbnb feel like it's really off to the side. It's in a nice secluded area, and it makes it feel like somewhere that you'd actually really want to come and like hang out because you have like a little getaway on the cliff overlooking a beach. Like, what more could you want? And of course, I'm starting with all of the trees and bushes, the bigger items first, and then I'm going to start placing down some furniture. Now, one of the campground area, because I'm kind of having the Airbnb and the campground next to each other, I'm trying to keep the campground relatively small in terms of footprint. And so I'm just going to use a few different items to make it feel like a little campground, a campsite area, make it feel like someone's coming here to go camping and live in the wilderness and rough it. Now I changed my mind and decided to put these white birch stools. That was a mistake, but we're going to change it. We're going to realize it later, and we're going to get rid of it. And you'll see me going out and kind of walking along this area. That's really me checking the flow. I want to make sure that it flows very nicely, that you feel like it's a natural way to walk and that the environment is guiding you in a way. So I want to make sure that there's nothing kind of jumping up and obstructing your path unless I want that to happen, But that's why I keep kind of going back and forth. Now this new path I'm laying down is a new dirt path that I found. I'm going to put the creator code on screen now. It is another one of those 9-piece path patterns. There are a bunch of different options for the corners and sides so that you can have, you can choose either very plain dirt or with all the accoutrements. I chose to basically just use the busy kind of corners with the pine cones and things because I'm only going to really use this path in a few areas, and I thought, it'll be a good accent piece. And this is something that I think is going to look really good in both late fall and winter, so it's a great option if you're looking for a path that's going to easily transition between the two seasons. Now I'm gonna build up the cliffs just so I can visually see it. It's one thing to just see the path there, but it's another thing for sightline reasons just to kind of like see the actual cliff built up. And now, bam, here's the house. So now I'm gonna start laying down the pathing for this area. Now I'm using the cobblestone here because I wanted cobblestone to be for any areas that are residential and planned out, and then the dirt path is for any of the natural areas. And now I'm gonna show you a little bit of the decorating. I skipped over a lot of the pathing because it's basically the same as the campsite area. Now this was an interesting challenge. This area was a lot of just like laying down stuff and figuring out how to make it fit into as small of an area. I really hate when I'm walking through an island and I have to constantly be squeezing through areas and using that like just little hop function. So I tried to do as little of that as possible, which was really easier said than done. I did not set myself up for success with this area. But I'm trying to put a seating area and then a little cookout area in a very small footprint. Easier said than done, I will say that. I also wanted to put a lot of potted plants and things out here, which are something that I haven't really used too much because I think in the winter they're going to look kind of strange, and I do kind of want this area to feel like just slightly artificial and off. Because it's like an Airbnb, and like, you know, it's not really a natural campsite. This is very much constructed to make it feel like you're roughing it in nature. Oh, this bike. I went back. This bike was the bane of my existence making this stupid area. I went back and forth with so many different areas, like places to put the bike. And the utility pole, I love putting utility poles down, honestly. I really like showing the wires and the guts of places and the ways that things work. I think that utility and infrastructure is like such a beautiful thing, really. And I think it's a nice contrast to all of the natural areas. It shows you what parts are really being residential with the trees. And it shows you what parts are truly natural, I think. When you see the utility poles, you're like, ah, this is a residential area. When you see the natural trees and no utility poles, you don't think of it. Finally found a home for this mountain bike. Love it. And they're just going to turn this into this bottom area into like a little natural area. Putting down a couple plants and things next to it. Now we're going to start putting down flowers and bushes and things of that sort. Really start to fill in the gaps, but I'm going to probably skip over a lot of it. And here we are. Here is the section. First, I'm going to walk through my new fruit orchard. I built this on Twitch. By the way, go follow me on Twitch. I stream sometimes. But here is the campground. Our lovely diagonal bridge. Over here, we got the campsite. As you can see, I switched back to those stone stools. What a good choice that was. We got a mountain bike. And then right across the river, we have the Airbnb area, mama. You got a nice little seating area. Over here you have a dining area. And this will eventually be the cabin. So that was it, y'all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.